Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. I'm recording a bit early because I get to teach all day tomorrow, and so I wanted to make sure that y'all had the happy haps, the vibes, the cookies, the homework, the thoughts going into this. Would love to tell you easy peasy lemon squeezy week, but it's more like a squeeze you till you cry lemon tears kind of week. And lemonade tastes bitter when it comes down your cheeks. Wow, that was really weird. I don't know. But that's kind of how it is this week. It's a little weird. I was gonna go take a shower after my run and look prettier with my big new zit on my chin. Things people don't tell you when you hit your 40s is it's kind of like you become a teenager again, and adult acne is real. Public service announcement. You're welcome. I bet you can't wait to be 40, or if you already are, I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here I am, sweaty, messy, pimply, and here to tell you that this week feels like that. So buckle up, buttercups, because it's not over yet. I know, okay? Do you hear that? My cat. I know you guys have been working hard. I know that so much shit has been happening. I know that you are probably half as frustrated as, you can possibly get, and me too. Hashtag me too. I am too, and I do have good news because with all of the hard things, there's always good things too. We start Monday off with Mercury direct. We made it through. Mercury's direct. Listen, we're still cleaning up the debris of Mercury retrograde, so it won't be as enjoyable as now all of a sudden everything's going to work out. It's more like, okay, I feel that. Okay, we're starting, we're going. But there's still a big mess to clean up. Only now you have the paper towels to clean them up. Congratulations, here's your roll of paper towels. That doesn't really feel like a gift, but at least we know how to clean our proverbial messes this week. So we start the week off with some good news. Mercury being in direct is a good thing. We like this. What I really want to talk about in this podcast the most is finding some catharsis in everything that we've been through so far, because this weekend is a big weekend. It's a full moon, which always means the moon and the sun are opposing each other. So they're in opposing energies, opposing signs. This one is in Aries and Libra, and that is where we've been having eclipses since 2023. So it's going to feel, since October of 2023. So it's going to feel dicey because it's like we're coming to a close of some relationships, of some soul contracts we've had to make with ourselves, with some loss of relationships, some loss of connection, and also some gaining of independence. That's what this cycle has all been about, the relationship between yourself and other people, and how we bring that into more harmony. And, we make mistakes when we're trying to find that boundary, because in order to find it, we have to push against it. In order to know what we don't like, we have to taste it, feel it, experience it, says the Sag Moon. Because I can't be told something. I have to experience it. You can't tell me that's hot. I have to touch it to know that it's hot. And maybe you ain't that bitch. And good for you and good on you if you ain't. However, astrology moves us whether we want it to or not. And this last few years cycle of trying to understand better yourself in relation to other people without blurring the boundaries has been hard. I've known a lot of people that have had to end relationships, that have had to set firmer boundaries with family members, that have had to end friendships. There's a lot of things that have gone down over the last few years that have taught us that sometimes our no is ultimately our yes. That sometimes putting up the no is what makes room for more of the hell yeses in our life. So I hope that that's true for you. But this full moon is going to be particularly charged because Chiron is hanging out. Chiron is going to have a Cazimi, which means Chiron's going to be in the sun. Chiron is the original wound. Chiron is what hurts. Chiron is the thing that doesn't heal. And so methinks this weekend could bring some grief, some soul tears, some release, some catharsis, hopefully, but it might hurt. You know, sometimes it hurts so good. Sometimes a broken heart is just the thing. It's like sticking a needle and releasing the energy that's built up, the tears that you've had to swallow down, the eyes closed that you've had to have to get through something. And now we get to open it and we get to see it and we get to puncture it and we get to bleed it and we get to wound it out, so that we can excavate it, so that we can wash it, so that we can bandage it and let it heal maybe a little bit better this time. So, you know, that's that's vibes. That's vibes. And at the same time, Venus is going to go direct. Yay! So these two big planets that have been retrograde, that have been giving us strife, that have been bringing up a lot of tense energy and turmoil and tumult, Venus being retrograde has played so intensely into the ending of this big eclipse season of us, me versus you, other, all of these dynamics and juxtapositions. It's almost like everything's coming to a head this weekend. And the more we can feel it, the more we can understand it, the more we lean in to what it is, to what's hurting, to what we're feeling, to what is bleeding and infected and icky and not touchable, we need to start touching it, you know? And I think Venus going direct is going to give us a little help, while also being at an exact conjunction to Saturn. Oh boy. So Venus is what is beautiful. Venus is our relationships. Venus is our music. Venus is the soundtrack to our lives, and how we sprinkle flowers in our house and how we plant our gardens and what we plant in order to see the world that we are wanting to see. And Saturn is our lesson timekeeper. Saturn is the one saying, it is spring. What have you grown? Let's see it. And he's not always nice about it. He's like, so what did you do with your spring break? So what did you do with this time where you were supposed to be planting things? And I'm like, bitch, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know. I was crying. I was struggling. I don't know. What was I supposed to be doing? And Saturn just sits there like, girl, the fuck. What have we been doing? What have I been saying to you? And so like, ouch, okay, also painful, because we could be hard on ourselves. We could not be seeing the results that we were hoping for. Things could be taking longer. But then Venus goes direct and says, but you know what? The hard is beautiful. You know what? I haven't grown yet. You know what? The seeds be in there, I promise. I just don't exactly know how to water it, what I'm watering, when I'm watering, what's going to happen. And Saturn doesn't like that. So that can feel a little crunchy inside of us. But the gift and the honoring of Chiron being a Kazemi right in the sun is that we honor our pain, is that we honor our life experience, is that we honor what we've been through. I spent a lot of time this last week seeing friends, folding clothes. Okay, I haven't folded the clothes yet. That was a lie. They're downstairs. They're washing. I'm bringing them up today. So I'm going to preemptively tell you that I did the clothes. So you caught me in a lie there. I have been reading a lot of books. I read 6 books over spring break, and a lot of contemplating on my heart. And I've cried with some friends, and I've laughed with some friends, and I've loved with my partner, and I've walked with my partner, and I've talked with my partner, and I'm trying to open up those doors that we talked about last week. I'm trying to be less attached to what's behind them. And I signed myself up for grief counseling so that maybe I could get help in figuring out what doors are bolted shut, because that's how it's felt. It's felt like I'm on the cusp, I'm on the precipice of what the problem is. And as someone who, you know, I like to think of myself as an artist, a writer, someone who feels things and reads things and experiences life in an incredibly deep way. It's hard under those circumstances in my body to maintain happiness all the time. I go through really long phases of melancholy, depression, extreme sadness, and sometimes because of all of that, extreme joy and all of the other good stuff that comes with being a deeply feeling human. And what I'm learning is that there are so many things that I put right into my body that are on the outside of me. How my friends' days were, how my students are doing, how my kids are doing, how my partner's doing, how my dad's doing. All of those things I internalize and interpret, and who knows what the fuck happens once it goes down into the body. The body sucks it up and does all kinds of weird shit and makes all kinds of strange defense mechanisms and creates all kinds of calamity inside of myself that, as Aries season approaches and is here now, being about the body, and as I start walking more and as I start stretching more and as I start moving more, those feelings get released. And it's hard for me because sometimes it's like, where did that feeling come from? What is it even? Because it's so long stored in my body. Can you relate to that? Do you put things in your body that then come out at very strange times? Always in the wrong time, always in the wrong scenario, very embarrassing. You know, crying in public has never been my favorite, and yet is something that tends to happen. If someone hits me just the right chord, someone plays just the right note, or I smell just the right or wrong smell, and as I walk some paths as someone who's lived in the same town my whole life, things will come up. And so it is impossible for me not to have a spectrum of emotions going on inside of me all the time. I wouldn't say I've always been steady in that way, that I will think one thing one day and another the next, and that this cycle of time has made me pick a lot of lanes, has made me make a lot of decisions, has forced me into some quandaries of disruption that I've really had to parcel out and not just blame myself for, but say, where is my boundary too thin? Because stuff's getting in. And what can I do to mediate how much is coming in? And so that's my homework. That's what I've been contemplating as I've been sitting with my friends and my family and my heart and my life and the structures of it and what my next steps are. And the truth is that I've always seen these things as exclusive, right? What's going on with me and my partner? What's going on with me and my family? What's going on with me at work? What's going on with me interpersonally? And I'm like, it's all the same, that they all crash into each other and they all make decisions. They all have a council inside of my soul that gets together. And if it's one part of my life that's not working, I can't just say, well, I'm going to fix my work life, because it's like, where's the bald fist? The balled up fist doesn't just live in my work life. It carries over and bleeds through, and to the point where you can't find the original source of the frustration, of the knot to untie, so that you can all of the sudden be successful in your career. It's all linked, is the conclusion that I've drawn at the end of all of this crazy astrology, is that I can't just look at one problem. I have to look at the sum of all of the parts. You know, putting oil into a car that is, that's transmission is about to go isn't going to do you any good. Fixing tires on a car that's about to blow up isn't going to do you any good. It's just going to make you feel safer. But are you really? Because you are your own functioning unit, your own car, your own transport. And if you are watering and changing the oil on the wrong part of you, well, then everywhere is going to get leaky. Everywhere is going to start to break down. So it's looking at the overall health and well-being of the soul. That is the holdup to all of the other things, the career, the relationship, the moment, the fight that you had. All of it leads to you, that all of these situations don't happen randomly, that they don't happen for no reason, and that they don't just come out of nowhere. That truly, once we're at the place where we're fighting, once we're at the place where our cars break down, once we're at the place where we're crying or screaming or feeling like a failure or whatever, it had been doing that for quite some time, ever so slowly closing closing, closing, until it was in on you. There's nowhere to move. There's nowhere to go. There's just this sense that something is wrong. This melancholy that can wash over you. And sometimes there are big things going on. Sometimes there's really obvious hardship going on. But then you have to think, where were you before the big thing happened? How was your car running before the big car accident? You have to think about how you were taking care of, I was taking care of myself in the first place. And it's why we all get sick in some of those really inopportune moments, because we've pushed and said no, I can't get sick right now. I can't do that right now. And then our bodies just say, but you must. But you must. You've put it off too long. There are too many things going on. Your body needs a rest. And that's what I like about Aries season, is it shows us in our bodies particularly. So your homework is to listen to your body this week in a big way, because there's a big tide. I see it as like this really lovely, strange tsunami that's going to wash over us this week, that as this full moon approaches towards the end of it, planets are going to start going direct. Momentum is going to start coming. But Chiron is going to say, wait, what's hurting still though? What did all of this bring up inside of you? What are the small moments of your life that have led you to this precipice? And how can you take responsibility for it? And how can you honor it by truly feeling it? That is the medicine of what this weekend is going to dole out. And then with Venus going direct, she's going to say to Saturn, this is what beautiful is to me. This is what a beautiful life could look like for me. We start to get those inklings, and the card that I pulled is flexible. It's not that you need to make these big decisions right now. It is not that you need to know what's going to change to make you successful. Though I would super like that. Anybody's got any ideas, reach out to me. I would super love to just skyrocket into my own astrological success. But first, I have to be flexible, and I have to look at myself as a living, breathing thing that is the rocket to my success. But where am I? How am I? What's led me to right here? And I still don't have the answers, guys, but I do feel things loosening. I do feel knots unraveling. And maybe that's a little scary for some of you to contemplate doing inside of yourself. It sure is for me, because I think, what if I do get to the crux of it? And it was me all along. I'm the person that my husband left. I'm the person that is in the situation I'm in now. I am the person that lost my cat. I am the person that wakes up in the morning and manifests whatever happens to me that day. I am the one doing that. And what if at the end of the day, I don't have a solution for that? Well, you stay flexible. You get vulnerable. You surrender and you say, but I want to get better. But I do want to figure it out. But I do want to do better, be better, feel better, and experience better. And some of us don't. And some of us aren't ready yet. And some of us are very much bosom buddies with our pain, with our victimization, with our stories, with how we think we are in this world, with who we think we are. Instead of wanting to level up and put in some work and start not just putting in the oil, but lifting the car up and taking it apart and seeing what's in there. Wow, I don't know if I want to do that, if I'm being honest. That sounds yucky. But I know that it is the path to my success. And it is the path to yours too. Is the deeper we can go, the more we're always willing to learn. And the less we know, the better we're going to do. So what do you not know about? What do you want to know about? What do you think would be the thing that would take a layer off your shoulders, a level of heat and sweating through this hard time? Because listen, the temperature's getting turned up all the time. This world, this government, this moment is building and picking up steam, and you'd better know who you are in these times and what you want. And if you don't, now is the time to do the work. And that's what Chiron Kazemi is saying to us. What's hurting? What can you do about it? What can't you do about it? And then how can you exist within it? Thank you so much for listening. Please like, please subscribe, please follow, please share me, please, whatever on whatever platform you listen to can get me across the nations. Because listen, I'll do my work if you do your work, and we'll be doing work together, and maybe we can share, and maybe we can lift the load off each other, and maybe all of us can share with all of us, and then we can all win and we can all be successful, because that's truly what would make us all the happiest. Good luck, my dear friends. May the force be with you. May Mercury and Venus going direct give you at least the hint of the horizon as you're walking uphill. I hiked this weekend. I didn't do very good. I got nauseous. I thought I was going to throw up. It's real gross. I was real humiliated by my lack of exercise skills, but I still walked up that hill. I still did it, and I looked, and then I walked back down. And there wasn't a lot of fanfare to it, but the meaning was not lost on me. And so we keep walking. Thank you again for listening, and I will see you next week.